If g is a cubic function with the following characteristics, draw a sketch of graph g indicating all relevant points. Please feel free to pause the video and try and solve this on your own. But let's have a look at this question in a bit more depth, right? So bullet point 1, firstly, here we're subbing in x is equal to 3 and we're getting 0. So in other words, that is going to be an x-intercept. And here, when we sub in x is equal to 3 into the first derivative of g, we get 0. So that is a stationary point, or turning point rather, either or. Here, when we sub in x is equal to 0, we get y is equal to 27. So in other words, that is going to be our y turning point. It is given that when we have our second derivative, so point of inflection, concavity, we have a positive answer when x is less than 3. And when we have once more our point of inflection less than 0, our second derivative less than 0, so a negative answer, x is also, not also, x is greater than 3. So how are we going to sketch this graph? Let us first draw our Cartesian plane. That's not a bad looking graph, if I do say so myself. Okay, so here's our, you know what? Because this is 0 and 27, let me actually try to draw it a bit more proportionate. No. So here we've got 0 and 27, and here we've got 3 and 0. Now, as you guys can see in our first bullet point, our x-intercept is also the same as our x turning point. So in other words, we've got a repeated factor here. When the graph, it almost turns on our x-axis. So this is what it looks like. Remember, your graph needs to be very curvy for you to score that mark for the shape mark. And don't forget your arrows to indicate that the graph is infinite. Let's do this. Okay, and your graph needs to look something like this for you to score the marks. I just went over it one more time. 3 marks are coming from your y-intercept, this idea of the point of inflection. So as you guys can see, the point of inflection is a positive when x is less than 0. So at this point here, it is an increasing graph. And when it's greater than 3, the point of inflection, it now begins to decrease. Okay, and that's what the graph looks like. So we've got like a positive portion here and we've got our negative portion. And that's it. That's the question.